Yo, how are we doing? And today I am pumped for this video because we are going to be talking about how hard it is to get in shape, okay? So, when I started on my fitness journey at 18 years old, 16, 17, okay? I went to the gym with my dad, I started lifting the weights, and I'd already had a channel of sort of ideas put through my head of what it was like to be in shape and to be fit. And a lot of those were from Hollywood, right? It was from Arnold Schwarzenegger, it was from Sylvester Stallone and the Rocky films, it was from watching anime like Dragon Ball Z, it was from watching a lot of mainstream media where there was dudes that were jacked with six packs. And so I just thought that if I wanted to be fit, if I wanted to look good, then those are the things that I should chase, right? Things like Men's Health magazine that people used to buy magazines, not so much anymore. But Men's Health magazine, they had a different guy on the cover every single month. They were in ridiculous shape. They had a six pack, and so that was sort of the channel that I was tuned into and understanding what it was like to be fit, to be strong, and to be in shape. And so when I got started at the gym, that was kind of the goal. Like, I want to get in good shape. And so most of you watching this or listening to this have probably got a similar experience of receiving information about what it is to be fit, what it is to have a good body, and what it's like to be in shape. Now, the thing that scares me now as a father is the increase in the standards of in shape and fit and how that has changed over time. So if you're listening to this, you're not going to be able to see this, but you can certainly go on Google and have a look. But I'm going to pop up on the video some images of mainstream actors through the generations, just to showcase how the action heroes of our time, how they have changed over the decades and how bodies have changed in fitness, okay? Now, a huge thing that has created this change is that the fitness industry has grown, and when industries grow, the cream rises to the top.
Cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
So the best of the best rise to the top, and they get a disproportional amount of eyeballs, a disproportionate amount of money and fame, right? And they become the top dogs. Now, our industry is quite small. You maybe see less outliers, okay? There's less outliers at the top just because the industry's small, the pool of people that's involved is smaller, and then over time, as an industry gets bigger, more people get involved, and you start to simply see more of the freaks. You start to see the guy who is 16 with a 10-pack, who's never lifted a weight in his life, get into fitness because people are like, hey, you look like you're into fitness, you look the part, you look like you could sell protein, you should go to the gym, and they get ridiculously jacked and sell protein shakes, right? And in a microcosm, that is what happens basically on a large scale, right? And that scales up. And over time, those big players, okay, generate more and more of the interest from people. And so that disproportionately affects our opinions on what is the standard, okay? So, for example, for kids now, like, you go back to my parents' generation, there was no such thing as social media. Like, you only could, compare yourself to the Joneses, which was like who was next door to you or who lived across the street, or maybe like the top player in your community. But nowadays, people are on Instagram and Facebook, they can see people from all over the world, and they can sort of compare themselves unhealthily to people all over the world. And they can zone in on those top 1% performing people. And because of our human nature, that's the kind of things that we want to watch, consume, and see. And so we normalize that and we think, why am I so far away from that? And when it comes to fitness, the problem with this is it makes people feel shit, right? About their bodies. It makes people feel shit about their fitness and their strength because they feel like they are so below par, but the par that they are thinking exists is made up in their head and is pushed on them by the media that they consume. God, maybe I'll take a breath now. So, getting in shape and getting fit, if that is the prism that you look through things, is going to take a lot more time than you think. Now, for me, I came into the industry at like 16, always fit, always active, Always had a flat stomach. I'm not saying I was one of those kids at the six pack, but I always was in relatively decent shape compared to my peers. And then I got into the gym. I started lifting weights, and I thought that I was going to look like the guys on the Men's Health cover from reading the information in 6 months to 2 years. The reality is, I got in did a men's physique competition, and I was probably in somewhat, not, I don't want to sound big-headed, but somewhat that kind of shape. And that took me 18, let's say started going to the gym at 18, let's just say proper, 18, 27 I competed, 9 years, okay, yeah, basically it took me 9 years, right, to get to the point where I was cover model-esque shape. I had the abs, I had these little finger-like serratus muscles, I had the shreds, right, and I had somewhat of the look of what I thought I was going to get when I started in 6 months to 2 years, right? And I'm extremely dedicated, absolutely love training, love fitness, super passionate about it, super passionate about bodybuilding, strength training, all that kind of jazz. The kind of person that sat on like bodybuilding forums and all that kind of stuff for an insane amount of time trying to learn the special 1% technique. It doesn't exist, folks. But yeah, it's a little bit sobering. And there was also a case of when I'd been training for a year or two and I started to get those initial gains, I thought, well, I'm going to be on the Mr. Olympia stage, right? I'm going to be so big that like I'm probably going to have to calm the training down at this rate. And the reality is that is not what happened, because there are so many factors when it comes to fitness, strength, and your body. Okay, the biggest factor of all is genetics. Okay. And so there are people who can train for 1 year and have better results in all of those things than another person training for a decade, maybe even longer, just because of the gap in genetics. There are people out there who are 8 foot tall. There are people out there who are 3 foot tall. You can see these genetics. They're very visible. Okay, it's height. It's really easy to see that difference. But there are certain genetics that are a little more subtle that you cannot see. Like you can't see, okay, until they're running, that someone else is ridiculously fast and someone else is ridiculously slow. You just can't see those things, when they're young kids, until they start running and you're like, holy crazy, that's ridiculous. You can run ridiculously fast. You've got, fast twitch muscle fibers. You'd be good at going down 100 meters, sprinting, etc. So we can't see those steering things. We can't see muscle building genetics. We can't see how easy it is for someone to stay lean. These things are slightly invisible, okay? And they then come out when people get into training, get into fitness. And the fitness industry tends to reward those people who have the top tier genetics because it rewards them with more eyeballs, bigger audiences. They make more money. And so it all feeds into itself. But yet, for the average consumer who, the average person, dude is 5'10", the average woman is 5'5", I think, okay? There's no point in them trying to look at, people, they don't, but look at 7 foot people and think, I should use the same products and do the same thing as them so that I can be 7 foot tall, because that's dumb, right? You just know straight away. But it's kind of true when it comes to fitness as well, and it comes to getting in shape. You can't look at someone else and just think that I am going to get in that person's shape by taking their products and using their services. Now, there's a blanket thing. We can all get fitter. We can all get stronger. We can all get in better shape. Most people, I think, can get in incredible shape, right? I think that everyone can probably get in shape that could get them on Men's Health or Women's Health cover, right? If that's what you wanted to do, just put it out there. But the degree of work that it requires for each person would be humongously different, okay? Some person, they could, 18, six-pack Steve, who's never lifted a weight in his life, could do it in like 6 months. And then there could be someone else on the other side of the bell curve that it's their life mission and it takes them 10 to 15 years. So when it comes to getting fit and getting in shape, it's just having an understanding about your own set of genetics, number one, okay? Number two, the other thing that's vastly inflated the standards lately is the dark side, okay, is steroids, is performance-enhancing drugs, which, if we go pre-1950s, they just didn't exist. And if you look at the physiques of action stars, movie stars, and actors pre-1950s, then you will see a vast difference in their bodies compared to now when we look at the people who play like Marvel superheroes or play the action heroes now, okay? They're in ridiculous shape, okay? Now, has training and nutrition got slightly better? Sure. Have more people got into fitness? Yes. Are some of these physiques absolutely outrageous and probably using performance-enhancing drugs? 100%. Especially when you look at the time that some of these actors and some of these people get into the shape they need to for a movie, and then how quick they lose it as well, all right? It's definitely, right? There's definitely stuff going on, all right? And so it's becoming more mainstream. I don't mean like more mainstream to your average Joe or Joette. Okay, a lot of people are still blind to it, but people in the fitness industry or in industries where they make money and get attention based on their bodies, there's a hell of a lot of people doing naughty things. It's not naughty, right? Like if you do it and you're honest about it, all power to you. If you're lying about it, you're a scumbag. So when it comes to fitness standards, that has also increased the standards of fitness, the standards of what a good body looks like, because it's skewed it towards bodies that are taking these performance-enhancing drugs, using hormones to increase the muscle mass, to make themselves look leaner, and skewing as well because of how we're wired as humans, right? We want to look at the top sort of 1%. I think it's just like, it's like anything that has a talent or is visual, people are instantly drawn to the best version of it, okay? If you have someone who comes along, bear with me here, at a party, and they're a good dancer, and then someone else turns up to the party and they're a better dancer, and someone else turns up and they're the best dancer, suddenly the better and the other dancer seem to disappear because the best dancer is the only one that you can watch, right? I don't know why I use this ridiculous example, but that's what we're going with, okay? So our attention is drawn to what is the best, okay? And so when it comes to the fitness industry, because there's such a sort of chasm between people who are not using performance-enhancing drugs and people who are, the people who are using them get more eyeballs, more attention, more money, and then the industry starts driving that itself, right? I'm not saying it's doing it consciously, but subconsciously it starts to drive that because these people have the better bodies, these people have the better strength, the better fitness results. Those are the people that get more attention, and then the industry kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, and it just spins the wheels. And then you have a bunch of young people who are coming into the industry and think that that is normal levels of fitness, strength, and fitness, and actually feeling crap about themselves, okay? Yo, you absolutely glorious human being. Thank you very much for checking out my YouTube channel and checking out this video. Now, if you could be even more awesome and hit the subscribe and hit the notification bell, that would be much appreciated and help me on my little journey of building this YouTube channel. Hopefully this video is helpful. Catch you later. Now, I was at the early onset of this kind of stuff. And was sort of blind to it when I first came into the industry. And thankfully, I think there was more, as a percentage, there was definitely more people in the industry who were not using performance-enhancing drugs versus people who were using it. There was more of an even divide. I'm not saying it was perfectly even. It's probably still like 75% using, 25% not using. But that has really swung over the years. And I do fear for young people coming into the fitness industry and just young people in general in terms of what they think normal body image is, okay? And just expecting everyone to be shredded, have flat stomachs, you know, and just have these perfectly shaped bodies when people are just real, right? People have real bodies, and a fit body actually looks, a fit, strong, and healthy body. There's massive differences in how they look. You can have someone who's got 20% body fat, who can run a marathon. You can have someone who's got 25% body fat, who's really strong and, you know, has good cardiovascular health, etc. There's just so much difference, and their appearance has got almost nothing to do with it. Of course, I would make the case that at certain levels of body fat, I'm not with the crowd of, you know, health at every size. I think, yes, you can be healthier at every size, but there is a size limitation caveat where eventually carrying a certain amount of body fat is going to be detrimental to your health. It's going to be detrimental to your joints. It's going to be detrimental to your organs. Eventually, I don't know because I'm not a scientific wizard where that point is, but as a layman, I think it's somewhere around for dudes, 25% body fat, somewhere for women, somewhere around 40% body fat. When you start getting over there, the drawbacks of those percentage points over start to catch and start to build up. I think below those levels of body fat, if you are exercising, if you are staying strong, then you can have a good degree of health, okay? There's probably still some advantages to bring that body fat down from there, but, you know, then we're getting into nuance. So, we've been on a roller coaster today. But I suppose the concluding point of this video is that fitness and getting in shape is going to probably take you longer than you think if you are shooting for the standards that are commonly touted by those who are in the genetic elite and perhaps up to naughty things like taking performance enhancing and drugs and not discussing it. And even without those things, I think that for most people to get in shape, it's going to take a year, 2 years, 3 years, which to me sounds like nothing because I've been doing it since I was 18. I'm 33 now. But to a lot of people, that seems like a huge undertaking. So hopefully you can start your journey if you haven't already. And if you are on your journey, awesome. Keep up. Stay fit, stay strong. Catch you later.